It's Chaya and I'm back with another episode of Naked, the untold truth of the aftermath of living with big four A's: alcoholism, abuse, anxiety, and ADHD. After a life full of that, coming into adulthood, I had no idea how much of a disadvantage I was at. And now looking back at it, there are a lot of things that I want to share in the hope that you can either prevent them or learn to accept them in yourself, the way I'm learning to. So I've been talking about my experience with a narcissistic relationship. And I want to talk about what happens after you get out, because I think that that's very important. I think that I still struggle with what I need to do because of it. The first most important step of getting out of anything abusive or even anything unlike you, anything that you think you should have known better, the first step is to accept yourself. Accept that flaw. See, when I got out, I beat myself mercilessly. All I could go back and forth in my head with was, how could you not get out earlier? How did you get in the first place? Now, I was coming from the mindset of, let's prevent this from happening again. But in reality, that wasn't what was happening. I was beating myself up. I was telling myself how shit I was. So this poor girl had just gotten out of this horrible relationship with a guy who kept telling her that every day, how bad she was, who kept taking advantage of her, who kept hurting her. And now she finally gets out. And instead of giving herself the love she deserved, instead of being loved for once, because that's what she wanted more than anything, she's getting beaten. Does that make sense? We do that every day, all the time. Every time we finally do what we were supposed to do, we have this method, most of us, unless you've worked on it, this method of beating ourselves for not doing it earlier. So in a relationship, when the guy does finally call you the way you wanted him to, and you start giving him crap about it, he doesn't want to call you as often. But if instead, when he finally does call you, say, hey, I was waiting for you, I missed you so much. Guess what? He's going to want to call you more often. He's going to want to step up and be there. It's true all across the board. So it's hard for me to get naked in this area because I struggle with this a lot. Even today, I struggle with it. The beatings that I've given myself, they've become normal. And over the last year, I've been working on them consistently and focused. But it's tough because they are the way I lived. See, if you grow up in a house where you're being constantly told whether you're good or not good, and it depends on what you do, you start getting used to telling yourself that because that's what you were trained to do. Now, when you get out and you're far away from your house and no one is there to keep telling it to you, you're still going to tell it to yourself. I bet you that. You're still going to tell it to yourself just because that's what you were trained to do. I was trained to be okay with abuse. I was trained to look the other way. I was trained to shut up. I was trained that I wasn't worthy of using my voice. I was trained that I didn't know well enough. I was trained all these stuff. So though it wasn't me, when this narcissistic psychopath showed up and I was just vulnerable at that moment, I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no, I couldn't use my voice, none of it. Because I didn't have any. Not because I was being, bad in any way, shape, or form. I didn't know another way. And when it came to getting out, that's a miracle that I got out. The miracle is that I got out, it's not the other way around. It's not like, oh my God, how did it take you 9 months to get out? The miracle is that I got out. I didn't know that pattern. I didn't know that path. No one taught me how you get out. I taught it to myself. I learned it on the job. And the girl that he went with next, the girl that she didn't make it. She ended up overdosing. And it's so sad to me because when it happened, some part of me couldn't stop crying for her, but another part of me started to cry for me because suddenly I realized that it was real, that the abuse was real, and that I really, when I thought back, when I would have these thoughts that said like, you're crazy, like don't beat on me, like I couldn't get out earlier, I'm telling you, it suddenly hit me like, that's true. Look, the next girl didn't get out at all. She fell under. I got out. And I pulled my life together some way or another. I don't know what to tell you. And that deserves pride. Not guilt. Not shame. Pride in how strong I am. I still struggle with it. Some part of me thinks like, you should have just gotten out. I don't get it. But then when I really, really think about it, with mercy and kindness, all I want to do is hug that girl and tell her it's okay. In the future, you're okay. And I know it's tough. I know it's so tough. Just keep holding on because I'm depending on you. I'm here based off of you holding on through every second that you do and the way you did. I'm here today to tell you that you deserve mercy. The first step through any abuse, through any uncomfortable situation, the first step to rebuilding your life. How you rebuild your life, the first step is to have mercy. To have mercy for all the time you didn't know how or didn't want to or didn't. You need that mercy. That's the mercy. That's the mindset that will get you through all the way to the end. If you turn yourself into your friend rather than your enemy. Life gives you what you give it. So if you're turning yourself into your enemy, you're turning life virtually into your enemy. And then life will turn into your enemy. But if you're loving on yourself and you're kind, you're creating healing. And you're also creating a world in which the world wants to work with you. It's your friend. I didn't know that then. I didn't do it then. And I went through the cycle of abuse many times after that. You think, what? You got out of that? And no, I went through it again and again and again. And that's the norm. Statistics show that anyone who already had abuse is more susceptible to it. That's how it works. But I'm here to tell you that there's a way to break that pattern. And the first step to doing that is stepping up and finding a way to have mercy for yourself. Give yourself the mercy you deserve. Give yourself the mercy you would have given to someone else. The understanding, the love you would have given to someone else. Give that over to yourself because you deserve it. If you don't believe that you do, you're here right now. I'm telling you, you deserve it. Come, let's bring God into the room. He has the most mercy of us all. God, grant us the serenity to accept the people we cannot change, the courage to change the one we can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. Thank you for watching, for joining me on this series, on this big journey. I hope that somehow hearing the naked, untold truth just helps you through your journey. And I appreciate you allowing me to be there. All right, like and subscribe right now. See you soon.